And too often we concentrate on our flaws. We try to make our flaws better. And I've always been the type to say, you know what, my flaws are my flaws. I've accepted them a long time ago,
Yes,
and I
yes.
don't worry about them. I don't worry about my flaws as much as developing my talents. I want to be the best at what I do, not
Yep, yep.
the mediocre at everything.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stevenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations, folks. It's Audley Stevenson. I'm back with another edition of the most audacious podcast you'll find on the internet. This is the Audacious Living Podcast, and it continues to be my pleasure to be here as we continue our ongoing goal of helping our listeners live their best audacious lives ever. This is episode 238 of the podcast, and it's great to have you join us as we welcome today's guest, Nico Lagan. He's definitely an interesting and outspoken guest, especially around the topic of men's empowerment. And considering his upbringing and growing up without a strong male influence in his life, I totally get why he's so passionate about the work that he does. As a men's coach, he offers guidance and support to empower others to reclaim their masculinity and claim their power and purpose. Nico is definitely that in-your-face kind of guy, and he gets straight to the point. So we'll get straight to the point here and go right to our conversation with Nico. Enjoy. Hey, Nico, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for joining me on the Audacious Living Podcast. Thanks, my friend.
Absolutely. Bald-headed people need to stick together, right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We stay united. Yes.
Mm-hmm. We have to.
For sure. Well, listen, I appreciate you doing this. Here on this podcast, we really, promote and encourage individuals to be bold and take risks and live their best audacious life. And in order to do that, oftentimes it involves that individual taking that very first step. And and we know sometimes there's things that hold them back, and maybe there's some fear, trepidation, whatever that may be. But as a men's empowerment coach, you certainly understand this, and you work with helping men make that first step and get to that better place. And so maybe and so that's why first of all, that's why it makes sense for you to be here without question. And I thought maybe as a starting point, I can get you sort of just to just talk about the work that you do and how you got there.
Well, it depends. I do a lot right now. Like there's I help men on pretty much all aspects, like from the beginning, from from quitting their corporate jobs to doing something for themselves, and then I'll help them put that stuff online to use social media platform as marketing tools. I can show them how to write a book because I'm self-published. I own my own publishing house. I have my own video production company too. So there's a lot of things. Like I was just talking to a potential client this morning, and that's what I was telling him. I'm all about the relationship. Like I was in high-end sales as a sales engineer for one of the biggest telecommunication companies in Canada for 12 years. And we've had some customers that have followed us from company to company. Like when you do your job well, let's say they move from one company to the other. They're like, you need to go there. You need to go there. So I'm all about that. This is where my approach is. I have a few steps with the people that I deal with, but normally they're people they're men. It's like I only deal with men. Not that I have anything against women, but women have enough help out there. Men need help. So we take it from a point to self-discovery. Like my first book was written as a help guide for men between the age of 35 to 45. They come to a point where they have families, they have careers, they've been the provider that their family needed, and now maybe the kids are older. They're like, what next? They're not stuck to the daily grind as much. They still do it, but they don't have to, and they start. When you hit that 40-year-old, you're okay. Half my life is gone. If you look at statistics, half my life is gone. I've done what I had to do as a father, as a family man. What comes next? what is the next step? Because, there's some of us that have greatness in us. Well, I think we all do, but some of us have the balls to go after it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the guys those are the guys I deal with, to try to see what are the transferable skills that they have right now. What are the skills they have acquired over their
Right.
lifetime? What are their, we all have certain attributes, could be athletic, could be mental, could be a mix of both, but you have skills that I don't necessarily have naturally that I've had to develop.
Sure.
And too often we concentrate on our flaws. We try to make our flaws better. And I've always been the type to say, you know what, my flaws are my flaws. I've accepted them a long time ago,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I don't worry about them. I don't worry about my flaws as much as developing my talents. I want to be the best at what I do,
Yep.
not
Yep.
the mediocre at everything. Right?
Yep. Or
So,
sometimes you have people that focus on the deficits, what they don't have, right? It's funny. I literally was just talking to
yep,
someone the other day.
yep,
He was a hiring manager, and he
yep,
was saying that most of his time he's spending talking to people who they'll look at, say, a job posting and talk about all the things that they don't have. And he
yep,
spends so much of his time saying, well, no.
mhm,
But what do you bring to the table? How does
yep.
this job fit for you? How, why should you apply for it? And I think it's so
Mhm.
true.
And in business is the exact same thing. So it's true in the corporate world, as you're looking for a new job, to say, what are all the things I don't do well and what are the things that I do well? Don't worry about the things that you don't do well. Worry about the things you do well. And I was a high school dropout. I didn't get my high school diploma until I was 20. I didn't go to college until after that. And by the time I left the corporate world, I was making the salary of engineers while I have 18 months of DeVry college. So, if you're ready to do the work, but you're ready to do some research, because it's all about critical thinking. We don't do this anymore. And if there's one skill I've always sold to any managers that hired me, is to say, listen, I'll be the first one to tell you I don't know everything. But one thing that I do know is how to research. And I guarantee you, put me face to a problem, I'll find you a solution. I'll find you multiple solutions. And I'll never be ashamed to tell you that I don't know. But one thing that I do know is how to get you an answer. So
Mm,
I could say that I don't know and focus on the negative, or just say that I have a skill of research and I will always find a solution. It's
right.
always about spin, because you can spin your deficiencies into qualities if you understand them, right?
Absolutely. So I think that's huge because first off, I think when so in this context of hiring managers, let's just say, right, uh,
Hmm.
uh, uh, they want to know, what are the intangibles that you possess they don't have to teach you, because
Yep.
the actual ABCs of things that can be taught, they don't mind teaching that as long as you're teachable, and that's
Coachable.
the key.
One of the You have to be coachable. You have to be able to take training and take criticism, especially like um not all type of criticism. Obviously, there's haters out there that just talk and they have nothing intelligent to say. But you have to be able to take constructive criticism. Yes, it might hurt. Yes, it will suck. But at the end of the day, you have two choices: you're a victim, or you do something about it. Those
Right,
are your choices, right?
right.
But it also translates, like, as a business owner now. One thing that I've come to realize, and guys like Elon Musk says it all the time: am I the most intelligent person at the table? Chances are that I'm not. But one thing that I have over most people is that I know what my flaws are, and I will put people in place to fill those gaps. So I'm a great leader. This is what I do. So what are my flaws? Okay, as a guy that owns a video production company, what are my flaws? I'm not the best video editor,
Okay,
or it takes too much of my time. I don't want to spend it on it. So I'll hire people to do that for me.
sure.
Oh, I've designed websites in my life. Absolutely. Should I spend my time on that? Am I the best one? Am I the most up to date? No. But I do have a webmaster that does that for my customers.
That's
So
right.
it's knowing yourself, because it's always where it comes down to, right? If you look at every single problem you see in society today, it comes down to one
Yes.
thing: accountability. Every problem,
Mm,
name it. It does not matter what the problem is. You can always take it all the way down to accountability. And how can you be accountable if you're not self-aware? It's the first step, being self-aware, being having a no bull approach and being able to say this is what and who I am.
Yep.
With that
Yep.
being said, yes, I've made mistakes. Yes, I've hurt people. Yes, I've taken a lot of dumb decisions in my life. And I'm talking personally. I'm not talking about somebody else. I'm talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But I own to it. I can't change that. But what can I do? Get better. But it starts with self-awareness, and it starts with and then accountability.
Right.
It's where it starts.
So I want to go back to the connection between uh, our problems and us being accountability, because I think that's a really
Mhm.
significant point. Can you expand on
Yep.
that a bit further for our audience, please?
As a man coach, I've pondered. I'm the type of person that meditates a lot. I'm the type of person that will sit outside with my dog with a cigar while my girlfriend is doing whatever it is that she does. And I'm pondering. I love to ponder questions and ponder, like, okay, let's say I'm obsessed. Maybe pondering, I'll say pondering because it sounds better, but I'm literally
Okay.
obsessed.
Assessed.
But I've recorded 300 to 400 podcasts, and I've been asked the question so many times as to what is the main problem in today's society. And for the longest time, I thought it was the lack of masculinity. It was the lack of good men trying, like being the leaders their family needs, being there for their boys. This to me was always the problem.
Okay.
And then within the last year, I was just sitting down and I was pondering that because I'm like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that that's the problem. And I realized it's just a symptom. It's just a
Mm.
side effect of what the problem is. And the real problem is lack of responsibility, lack of ownership, accountability. And you let's take that example let's take that as an example.
Okay.
40% of young men right now of
Mhm.
boys are being raised by single mother. This is a fact. The statistics are out there. You can look them up.
Right.
From there, somebody it is proven also a fact that boys being raised by single mothers are more prone to poverty, are more prone to drug use, are more prone to doing bad in school, and that it takes a man to show them discipline. So if we those are facts. People can argue, can be very mad at what I'm saying, and they normally are.
Okay.
It
Okay.
is still
Okay.
a fact that the statistics shows that. That being said, for whatever reason, if there's no man in your life, if there's not a grandfather, you don't have a friend that can teach your boy how to
Right.
become a man, it's on you as the mother to find somebody to teach him, to
Mhm.
be accountable, to find somebody to teach him. If you're a father and you're still present, you're married, you're still in the life of your kids, but you work too much and your kid definitely needs more guidance, you're accountable. It's your fault. You need to do something about it. That's your choice. If you
Mhm.
don't, it's your fault. There's
Right.
nobody else to blame. The system's not to blame. You are. So whatever
Mhm.
problem that I started breaking down, I started removing all the fluff and just breaking it down to the most common denominator.
Right.
And it
Right.
always comes down to accountability. Number one is name me a problem today. I don't care what the problem is. There's somebody somewhere that did not want to do it and said, not my problem, somebody else's problem.
Push it off.
Mm-hmm.
They've pushed it off to someone else.
100%. 100%. 100%.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like,
I get, I know, I get that point loud and clear. And again, you're right with respects to accountability. And if more people were taking care of their yard, I'll use that expression, taking care of what's in their yard, and I think
yeah,
I think they,
yeah,
it would help definitely. Not to say that there won't be problems exist, not to say that bad things won't happen, absolutely,
no,
and not
no,
to say everything will go right. But
no.
I do agree with you that it starts with us taking ownership of what
Yep.
belongs to us.
It start with a person looking back at you in the mirror every time, every single time. And what I find baffling is this. People like to play victim. They like to blame others for their problems,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't like to be responsible for their own issues. And that creates a bunch of victims. Society's filled with victims to them. And what baffles me is that they seem to lack the understanding that if you are capable of being a victim, that also means that you have the power to be anything you want because it's self-inflicted. It's You have two sides of a coin right there. You either accept the fact that you're a victim, but that also means that you have all the tools you need in order to become whatever it is that you want to become. I say this. I should record another video saying it because it's been a while. But I say this all the time. If your life sucks, chances are it's your fault. Oh man, people don't like that one.
So for me, if someone says their life sucks, my first question, well, why do you feel that sucks? Well, what does that mean, right?
Yep.
What's happening in your life?
Yep.
And because Nico, our perspective is so key in all this, right? So, not to say that bad things aren't painful, adversity is easy, not to say that at all. But sometimes we go through things that will prepare us and help us and enable us to be better down the road. So, yeah, maybe it sucks, but I can think of a ton of things that sucked in the moment that helped me big time down the road.
And again, comes down to the first step of self-awareness. Another great example, you look at baby boomers. So you look at how old are you, by the way?
I'm 50.
So you're not a baby boomer. You're
No.
my generation, but your parents were baby boomers, chances are.
Yes.
If you look at North America, they had the best society ever. They lived in the best time ever. They were born after the Second World War. They grew up in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, where everything was booming. Jobs were everywhere. The middle class was the best. They raised their children in a way that was not the same as their parents raised them. Yes, their fathers came back from the war. They were probably not in the best of mental shape, but they tend to forget that if it wasn't for the way that their parents brought them up, they would not be as successful as they are today. So instead of instilling in their kids all the valuable lessons that they learned from their parents, maybe with a smack in the back of the head, maybe it was a forced lesson. But instead of concentrating on all the good that came from what they perceived to be bad at the time, they decide to raise their kids in the complete opposite way, to say, all the things I did not get, I will give them to my kids, but they forget to give everything they received at the same time. And now we have a bunch of privileged, eternal teenagers. They're 30 years old and they're not men. They're teenagers. Whatever teenagers mean nowadays. But this is what I find amazing. We have a tendency to always see the negative in life instead of seeing the positive first. Look at society today. Left and right, they will disagree on so many things, but yet they forget that as per the bell curve, you're looking at about 80% of things you agree on. So that means 80% of, so let's say you're a leftist, I'm a rightist. Everything, 80% of we agree on 80% to 90%, but we're going to be arguing about the 10% that really doesn't matter at the end of the day, because we agree on most things.
That's right.
We're negative by nature, I think.
I think what happens is that's just where the focus is, right? The focus is on the divide as opposed to what is the uniting piece, the commonality, right?
Divide and conquer is the best technique that Niccolo Machiavelli taught in 500 years ago. If you read The Prince, he basically came up with the principle of divide and conquer. So it's nothing new. It's nothing new. Well, but it's unfortunate.
But here's the thing. It's nothing new, but we still have control over what we choose to do and how we allow it to take over. So it doesn't, 100%. It may be happening. We don't have to allow us to control us, right? And so I think that's the piece that when we start to recognize we're in far more control than people realize, I think we can put ourselves on that path. I'd love to know, because I know a little bit, a little bit about your background and sort of the adversity that you had grown up. I know you talked about the absence of a male figure in your life, and I wonder if you sort of talk about that impact on you and what you had to do to get through that.
This is exactly why I speak about what I speak every day, is really because I've been through it. And my father left. I was 14 years old. He left the province, or like, I'm from Canada, so he left the province, your equivalent of a massive state. And he died. I think the last time I saw my dad, I was 19. I was 19 or 20 years old last time I saw him, and he died. I was 29. So yeah, it had been 8 or 9 years since we've spoken. We've seen each other, and I can count on one hand the number of time I saw him after 14, basically. And all the credit to my mother. My mother cannot teach a woman cannot teach a boy how to become a man. There's no way. They in the same way as I can't teach a little girl how to become a woman. I don't know what it is. I can put good women on her path so that they can teach her,
Sure.
but I as a man cannot. And my mom couldn't handle me. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. She gave up. When I was around 14, she gave up and she's just like, do whatever you want. And naturally, as men, and it doesn't have to do with being a boy, being a young man or a man, we always look for father figures. We always look for mentorship. We always look for people to help us maybe make sense of our life or get better or we inspire ourselves. We have heroes, if you will. We
Right.
always look for somebody that we perceive as being in a better position than us and look on how to get there, how to get advice to get there. But what did I know when I was 14 years old? I loved rap. I'm a big fan of I grew up when rap was nothing. Like it was not what it is today. Like I listened to Wu-Tang, Tupac when he was still alive, to Nas, to Mobb Deep. But I listened to the gangster stuff. Like I love that stuff. So guess what? By 15, I was out of school. I was selling drugs. I was an alcoholic. I was doing drugs every day. So, and you know what? This is what happened. And I did this for about 7 years until one call. Mother, very simple call. I had been living on my own I left my mother's place. I was 17 years old and I had been living for 3, 4 years by myself. And she picks up the phone and she's just, are you happy? And it's funny because it kind of snaps sometimes you crease, you cross a path where it's like a bridge where you're ready to listen. For some reason, there's something in your head that you're finally paying attention. Like somebody talked to you at the perfect time, and you're just like,
Yes.
okay, hold on, what did this say? Like what? Hold on here. And in my head, it was really exactly what you see in movies or you read in books. I was in front of two paths, one that went left, one that went right. I could continue going left where I was going, and for sure I'd be in prison by now. Or I could say, you know what? Let's see what I'm doing wrong here, and maybe I can do better. And this is what I chose to do. I was 20 or 21 years old, like in between the two, and I stopped seeing all my friends, got rid of my apartment, moved back with my mother. I quit doing drugs, selling drugs, drinking, smoking, name it. I literally put a cross on everything, and I'm like, okay, what next? Went back to school, and within 2 years, I had a high school equivalency and a college degree, and I started answering phones in a call center in helping mom and pops fix their internet services. And last year, when I quit my corporate job, I was a sales engineer at the top of my field. There was nothing really higher than what I was doing. So it seems that in my life, every 10 years, I do something extremely out there. So at 20, I quit my job to go back to, I quit my drug life to go back to school. At 30, I became a sales engineer, which was, I left the call center, put a suit on, and I started selling $1 million solutions. And then last year, I quit my corporate job, started my own company, left Canada, and started traveling in an RV ever since. So it seems that once you open your eyes for the first time and you start paying attention, you start realizing that God puts people on your path. That if you're ready to listen, if you're ready to pay attention, there are people there that want to help you. Even though you might not deserve it, they see something in you that you don't. And again, it comes down to the first thing, self-awareness. If you're capable of looking at everything that arrives around you, you can say, okay, why is that person in my life? What's their role? Am I supposed to help them? Are they supposed to help me? What's the dynamic here? And you start seeing everything around you has a reason. I don't believe in coincidences. Coincidences are what people that are not aware call things because they don't understand what's going on.
Yes.
Does that answer your question? Because I tend to go on rampage and I just blah, 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 blah.
No, 100% does. And I'll tell you the part about your story that I absolutely key in and I want to key in on is
Yep.
being ready to hear when it's time. Like we're
Hmm.
all on our own clock, Nico, where we're
Yep.
doing what we do at our own pace. And what
Yep.
happens is, as in your case, your mom called you at the exact right moment and you were
Yep.
ready to hear. And if it was any other time, the same message would not have been heard, right?
Could have been 2 days prior. She could have called me 2 days prior or 2 days after. It would have been too late. Two
What do
days
you,
before was early. 2 days
right?
after, too late. Who knows?
What do you think gets people to hear the message when they're ready to hear it? I know it's a big question, but in terms of because what you've described is very common. We've all
Hmm. Yep.
experienced that where we're like, I've heard it now, whereas before they may
Hmm.
not have heard it, and it could be the
Yep.
exact same message. What do you
Yep.
think that is that gets people to finally hear the message they need to hear?
Because they're hurting. Because they're in
Mm,
a situation where if you looked at my life back then, I was getting evicted from my apartment. I had been offered a job that would have been extremely lucrative for me, but that would have put me on the path of even worse. That I was offered an opportunity to not just sell the drug but to start making it. So it
mm,
would have paid a lot more, but I was digging my own grave. So that this is, I was really, people question, they're ready to listen when they're questioning already, when they're in an optic where there's something in their life, and normally it's something tragic that happens,
right,
something that's not good. They lose their job, they lose their wife, they lose a kid, whatever it might be. There's something bad that happens, and they're just like already in the mindset of, okay, what the hell is going on right now?
right.
Like, what they're already trying to understand what's going on, and then you have somebody that shows up to just say, hey, have you ever thought about this? And they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But you need to be hurting. I think pain is the answer. You need to be in
Mm.
pain. You need to be in pain. It's a must.
The pain of staying where you are is worse than leaving. Essentially, has got to be.
Yeah, this is why the comfort zone is the biggest. It's a tomb. Staying in the, if you want to be comfortable, be ready to die unsuccessful. Be ready to die unfulfilled. Be ready to die a nobody. Be ready to die with having done no impact on the people around you. If you want to be
Mm.
comfortable, sit your ass in front of Facebook, get fat. There you go. That's comfortable for you.
I hear
But
you
it's,
loud and clear. I hear you loud and
it's
clear. Nico, explain to me these five virtues of a good man. What's that all about?
Yeah, man. I have a very stoic mind. I'm a big fan of Marcus Aurelius. I'm a big fan of old Greek philosophy, old Roman philosophy, like 2,000 years ago. They had a lot of things figured out that we forgot today. And I've read a lot. Like, I'm a Christian. I've read a lot of the Bible. I've read a lot through Buddhist texts because I love Buddhist philosophy. I've gone through a lot of Stoic texts, and you know, I sat down and I tried to figure out what are the things that a man needs in order to become a good man. Because at this point today, if you look at a few hundred years ago, boys had rites of passages. They
Okay.
they were, through their clan, through their tribe, through their society, there were specific steps a boy needed to take. They needed to prove themselves to their society that they belong, that we could, earlier you said about being coachable. Well, that
Mhm.
was a skill that boys would be taught from a young age. You need to be coachable, and we need to coach you because we expect you to do your job. We
Right.
expect you to contribute. We need to be able to rely on you. So we'll coach you, but you need to be to up to a certain standards.
Yes.
And rites of passages are completely gone from the Western society now. They're not there anymore. We don't have, fathers are not present for, we can go into details into it, but that's going to take hours. But all to say that against their will, they're not there anymore, and it's against their will.
Mhm.
And we need, I figured that we need to bring them back somehow. So
Yes.
how, if you want to have rites of passages, you need to know what the outcome is. You need to know, I like to do reverse engineering. So What is the goal? What do you want a man? What are the skills that a regular guy should possess in order to be what their family needs, their community needs, what their country needs, expects of them? And it came down. I could find. It came down to five. A man first and foremost needs to be courageous. This is the first one. You need to have courage. You need to do. You need to have the balls to do what needs to get done when it needs to get done. That's
Mm-hmm.
number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, you need to become a protector. Men are bigger, we're stronger, we're faster, we take more risks. We are meant to protect. It's in our DNA. We are the first and last line of defense for our family, for our community, for our country. This is on us. Men are disposable. We're meant to protect children and women. That's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
So you need to be fit. First and foremost, this is the first step. You need to get in the gym. You need to check what you eat. You need to stop treating your body like a dumpster. You need to realize that your body is a machine. And if you ever want to get access to your mind, that you need to treat your machine with the respect that it is due. You need to take care of your body. And through taking care of your body, you will learn that you are a lot stronger than you think. You will learn that you can start creating discipline through just as simple as being able to change your body from something that you see in the mirror to something you've imagined. You will realize how strong you are, and it will take discipline to get there. So hitting the gym is the first step. Then the second step is to start learning martial art, and you can do it at the same time because one is not like both are. I started hitting the gym about a year before I started doing martial arts. It's been 20 years now, and I don't know
Yeah.
where I would be if it wasn't for martial arts. But it doesn't matter that you have kids or not right now, that you don't have a family. You need to
Right.
know how to defend yourself so that you can defend others. Like
Mm-hmm.
just this morning, I posted a quick video of um, an elderly handicapped woman in the New York subway, and she was getting attacked by this massive man. He
Okay.
basically took her cane and started beating her up with it.
Oh
And you
my.
know what people did? They took their phones out and they started recording. Nobody's helped her. They called the police. I'm like, you know what? Police is always minutes away. That's why you need to know how to fight, because in a situation where it's bad, police is too far. You need to
Right.
take care of that yourself.
Right.
So, and you know, I've wondered, this is another questions I've pondered quite often.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that men don't care, or is it that they don't know how to defend themselves? They're scared of helping others. So there's so many things that comes into play, but I guarantee you something. If you see something violent happen in front of you and you do not know what to do, learn how to fight. The
Mm-hmm.
day that you know how to fight, it is your duty as a man to help.
Mm-hmm.
So becoming a provider is number 3. If you as a man, it always has been our responsibility to provide, not only monetarily but emotionally.
Yes.
You need to be able to provide a safe household for your family. There's no such thing as a safe space outside of your front door. There's no such thing. Like in the real world, we don't live where unicorns and fairies are roaming free.
No.
This is not true. Does not exist. But at home, you need to be able to provide an environment where your kids and your wife are not in survival mode. You cannot advance if you're in survival mode. You cannot grow. Survival is all about your next meal, about what am I going to do next. You need to provide them a stable environment that's both emotionally and monetarily. That's your job as a man. So it's important to go back to what we were saying, and I don't know if we were recording or not, but learning what your skills are, what your
Yes.
natural abilities are,
Mm-hmm.
and doubling down on them to say, okay, I'm naturally gifted at doing this.
Right.
There's a reason why I ended up in sales, because I have a big mouth and I love to talk. So it made sense that I end up in sales. And guess what? I record podcasts almost every day now. So it only makes but
Right.
those align with my personal abilities.
Right.
And instead of focusing on what I like to do or what my passion is, when you're younger, focus on what you're good at and make a killing doing it.
Yes.
Develop skills that you already have, so that when you're 35, 45 years old, once you've taken care of your family, now you can sit back and say, okay, I have money in the bank, my family's taken care of. What can I do now that's going to please my personal wants?
Right.
And Number four is temperance. If you do not control your emotions, they will control you,
Mm,
plain and simple. And you only control three things in your life: your emotions, your actions, and your reactions. Control your emotions or else they'll control you. Your actions, every step that you take every day, that's on you. You choose to do that. The outcome is not up to you. I can choose to go to the grocery store and I could get hit by a car, so it might not happen. Knock
right.
on wood. That I use that example all the time and it pisses my girlfriend off because I might get hit by a car because I keep on putting it out there. But yeah, you know that.
uh,
And so you need to control these, and especially your reactions. Those are the
mm,
hardest one to control because most
yeah.
people blame their they're going to blame their subconscious mind for their reactions. But I can tell you that through meditation, through self hypnosis, through
Yes.
self awareness, you can control your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
You
Well,
can put
by doing
information.
but by doing that, you're giving away your power, right? By saying you don't have control over your, yeah, you're giving away your power.
100%. That makes you extremely easily controllable. So
Mm,
how many accidents, how many people lose their cool just out of driving? Just it's an example that everybody understands, right?
yeah.
You're in traffic, somebody cuts you off. He will piss you off to if you let him, he will piss you off to no end. You could have an accident, you could be so, between you and I and whoever's listening, I have stepped out of my car many times in the past,
Okay.
reach back to a guy at a red light, park my car, go knock on a door. They see a
Wow.
210-pound guy that looks like me. That's like, hey, bro, what the hell was that over there? You think that's smart? For all I know, that guy got a gun and he has all the rights to shoot me. And
Right.
this is just because I was easily controllable, because I had no control over my temper,
Yeah.
over my emotions.
Right.
So why give that power away? As you said, why would you give that power away?
Mm, it's
And you know what
yours.
the worst part is?
What's that?
How much you want to bet that the person that cuts you off in traffic
Hmm?
has never thought about you again? As soon as it was done,
That's
he never thought about you again. Yet you obsessed. Maybe for the full rest of your day, you
there.
were
Yeah.
angry, you were mad, and you know what that guy thought about you? Nothing. He couldn't
Nothing.
care less.
It's funny. I think like and let's use that example. So morning rush hour, you get cut off real badly. You're really
Yep.
upset. That guy's driven away. That guy
Oh
is
yeah.
driven away. He's got no concept of you.
Yep.
You've taken that to work now. You're angry. You've taken that to work.
Mhm.
Maybe it's
Yep.
sitting with you all day. If at 5 o'clock that day you're still talking what happened to you that morning, there's
Mhm.
something wrong. There's something wrong.
I heard that in a lyric in a rap song somewhere. Never let someone live in your mind rent free.
Uh,
And I love it. I absolutely love it. And you know, for the amount of content that I put out there, and considering I get millions of views every month, comments like that I get every day. Like to a point where I tell my girlfriend, "Don't look at the comments I get. Don't do it." She gets irritated. She gets pissed off because she knows me. She knows the type of person that I am, so she knows those comments are not true. But
right.
do you honestly think they still? To me now, they've become an entertainment value. I'll go on my TikTok, my Instagram, and I start looking at this, and I'm like, man, one, they would never have the balls to say that to me in real life. So that's one. Once you understand that, that's one. But
Right.
they provide entertainment value, and one thing I don't understand is that it's like getting in an argument with a stand-up comedian. I would never do that because
Yeah.
they would crucify me.
well,
So
well,
why would
especially when
you?
they're on the stage, they've got the
Oh
mic.
yeah, oh yeah. So why would you go on my pages, knowing that I'm an expert at what I talk about, and I will. And the day that I realized that I could fight as much as I could use my mind, I can bury basically anybody out there when it comes to what I know about. So why would you enter it? You're not going to win. I will make you lose control, and I will be laughing the whole. They don't understand that I'm sitting there with a cigar and I'm
Nico,
just,
you're
oh,
killing me.
that's what you're saying. Okay, we'll play. I'll
Yeah.
play. I'll play.
Uh,
And on top of that, they help me with the algorithm. That's another one that
Nico, you
they don't
kill
understand. Post all you want. That means they're pushing more my content. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. They don't like that when I say it. It's okay.
That's hilarious. You're killing me,
And
Nico.
the fifth one is faith.
Yes, yes,
This
yes.
is, it is not last because I believe that it is the less important, as I believe that it is what puts everything together.
Mm,
If, and one of the things that I always explain is faith is seen as a religious term, and as much as I'm a Christian, it doesn't need to be. Like, even for the people out there that don't consider themselves religious, to me there's three types of faith. You think about it, how can you ever build self-confidence if you don't first have faith in yourself that you're capable of achieving something? You'll never be able to build that self-confidence. How can you ever get into a new relationship, that it could be with a friend, a work relationship, or an actual relationship with a significant other, if you don't first have faith that they're going to be the person they say they are?
mm,
And how can you ever find life purpose if you don't first have faith in the fact that you were put here for a reason?
right. Good
So
point.
those are my five virtue:
And
courage.
yep,
So courage,
yep.
protector, provider, temperance, and faith.
Hey, no, I hear it, and I think those are all key ones because they all touch on really important aspects. I mean,
Yeah.
look, from the courage standpoint, on this podcast, we talk a lot about that, being bold and being audacious, because that's an important step to be able to live your best audacious life that we talk about here. And so,
Mhm.
certainly appreciate you for putting those things out, Nico. I love the work that you're doing. Obviously, you've got a very in-your-face style, and I can respect that. But I think at the end of the day, what the message that you're putting out there is quite frankly no different than the message that I'm putting out. And I think that's what we're talking about here, and helping people get to that better place. And so I want to thank you for doing that. I appreciate you. Shout out for the YMCA for holding you up. Giving you a platform to have this
Yeah.
conversation. So big shout out to the Y. For listeners that want to engage with you, argue with you, help your algorithms, where can we send them?
You can send them, if you're Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can go to Real Nico Lagan. On YouTube, it's Nico Lagan, and my website's nicolagan.com.
Got you. Well, listen, Nico, I think, again, this is awesome. I love what you're doing. I think the manner in which you're taking leadership in your unique style is so important. And look, and I'm sure people judge you. They look at the presence, they look at the tats, look at the bald head, and they've got you all figured out, right?
Of course.
Where I want to acknowledge the fact that you are standing up and speaking your authentic truth in your authentic way. And I think that really is the key to all this. I'm going to be Audley Stevenson. And Audley Stevenson has his way of doing what he does. And it's very effective for what Audley Stevenson does. I can't be Nico Lagan, because that's not who I am. And if I tried to be, I'd be just a knockoff. And there's no value in that. And what that also
You
does,
wouldn't be authentic either.
no, and what that also does, it pulls me further away from my mission, right? We've all got our
100%.
own mission that we're on, right? So
1,000,000,000% right.
yeah, I want to shout you out and say commend you, and thank you. Really do. I appreciate that.
Thanks for having me on, brother. It was a blast talking to you.
For sure. Be well, and keep up the good work.
There's no other way, man.
I love it.
Peace out, brother.
And back we are here on the podcast, and much thanks and appreciation goes out to Nico for sharing his insights and enlightening us on the stuff that he's got going on in his world. It definitely is a lot. I encourage listeners to reach out to him and even check out his website if you're wanting to learn more about him, or listen to his podcast, or all the great work that he does. So again, Nico, thank you for the time. I really appreciate the conversation that we just had, but if there's just one thing I take from the chat with Nico, it would have to be this. In our journey through life, we encounter numerous challenges and setbacks and uncertainties that can often test our resolve. In these moments, the combination of self-discipline, emotional control, and faith becomes crucial to shaping our responses, determining our outcomes. Whether it's in personal or professional endeavors, the ability to exercise self-discipline, manage emotions, and maintain faith can make a significant difference in our levels of success and fulfillment. Self-discipline is a cornerstone of the personal development and achievement. It empowers individuals to stay focused on their goals, make consistent progress, and resist temptations that might lead them astray. By cultivating self-discipline, individuals can develop good habits, prioritize tasks effectively, and overcome procrastination, thus increasing their productivity and achieving long-term success. Emotional control is equally essential in navigating life's challenges. It allows individuals to manage their reactions to stressful situations, conflicts, and disappointments. By remaining composed and rational, people can make better decisions, maintain healthy relationships, and sustain their mental well-being. Moreover, emotional control enables individuals to persevere through adversity, learn from their experiences, and emerge stronger as a result. The value of having faith extends to its ability to instill a sense of purpose and meaning in life. It can inspire individuals to look beyond immediate obstacles and setbacks, recognizing that every challenge presents an opportunity for growth and learning. Moreover, faith can foster a positive mindset, fostering resilience and empowering individuals to maintain optimism even in the face of uncertainty. In conclusion, the need for self-discipline, emotional control, and faith in our lives cannot be overstated. These attributes not only shape our behaviors and attitudes, but also influence our ability to navigate challenges and persevere in the pursuit of our goals. By cultivating self-discipline, practicing emotional control, and embracing faith, individuals can unlock their full potential, surmount obstacles, and lead more purposeful, fulfilling lives. So let's embrace these qualities, recognizing their transformative power and their capacity to guide us toward greater achievements and contentment. With faith, discipline, and emotional control as our allies, we can confidently face life's uncertainties and carve out paths of audacious success. We've sadly come to the end of another episode of the most audacious podcast you'll find on the internet. And as always, I extend my thanks and appreciation for our audacious lovers of this podcast who continue supporting us and help this thing move forward. I say thank you so much for the ongoing support. It truly, truly is appreciated. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stevenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.